Intro: The paradox of betrayal. Betrayal. It doesn't just break your trust. It breaks the illusion that people will always stay the same. It's the moment you realize that loyalty can fade, that words can lie, and that even kindness can be used as a weapon. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, knew this pain well. He was betrayed not by strangers, but by those he once called friends, brothers, even mentors. Yet, when history expected him to retaliate, he did something no one understood. He thanked them. To most, that sounds impossible. How could a man thank those who stabbed him in the back? But Marcus saw what few ever do. Betrayal doesn't destroy the wise, it reveals them. It strips away illusion and pride, leaving only truth, discipline, and the strength to rise above emotion. He understood that pain is the world's most honest teacher, that anger blinds, but understanding frees, and that when others act with cruelty, your response defines who you truly are. Because the Stoics believed this, you can't control the betrayal, but you can control what it turns you into. In that moment, Marcus didn't lose faith in people. He found faith in himself. He realized that peace doesn't depend on who stands beside you. It depends on who you choose to be when everyone walks away. So if you've ever been betrayed, misunderstood, or left behind, remember this. You are not being punished. You are being refined. Every betrayal, every wound, every disappointment, it all burns away what's false, revealing the part of you that cannot be destroyed. And before we dive into how Marcus turned betrayal into wisdom, take a second to subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers. Because this is where we explore not just how to live, but how to live well. With courage, presence, and peace. Chapter 1: Seeing the Gift Hidden in Betrayal. Betrayal hurts because it feels like theft. Someone steals the version of reality you believed in, the loyalty, the promises, the safety you thought was mutual. And when that illusion shatters, it's easy to fall into bitterness. But Marcus Aurelius refused to. He once wrote, "When someone does you wrong, consider what led them to it. Once you understand, you will pity them, not hate them." To him, betrayal was not a curse, it was an awakening. It was the universe showing him who people truly were, not through their words, but through their choices. He understood something most of us miss. When people betray you, they're not showing your weakness, they're revealing theirs. Their actions expose the limits of their character, not the value of yours. So instead of asking, "Why did they hurt me?" Marcus asked, "What truth is this moment trying to teach me?" He saw that betrayal can be a mirror, one that reflects not only others' intentions but your own attachment to expectation. Because expectation is often the root of suffering. When he felt disappointment rising, he reminded himself, "You trusted someone to act against their nature, and now you've simply been corrected." There's no tragedy in seeing truth clearly. The pain comes only when we resist it. And perhaps that's the strange gift inside betrayal: clarity. It burns, yes, but it burns away illusion. It leaves behind something purer, knowledge of who you can still trust. And more importantly, who you must become when trust is gone. For Marcus, betrayal was not the end of faith in humanity. It was the refinement of it, learning to love people for what they are, not what we wish they'd be. That is the gift hidden in betrayal. Not comfort, but wisdom. Not revenge, but release. Chapter 2: Turning Pain into Strength. Pain changes people, but it doesn't have to break them. Marcus Aurelius understood that deeply. When betrayal struck, he didn't let the wound define him. Instead, he turned it into training. Every emotional blow was another chance to practice strength, patience, and perspective. He believed that suffering, when met with wisdom, could become a form of alchemy. It could turn the heavy metal of pain into the gold of understanding. The obstacle, he wrote, is the way. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every loss, was fuel for growth. Marcus practiced what the Stoics called the discipline of perception. He learned to see pain not as punishment, but as purpose. If someone lied, he practiced truth. If someone betrayed, he practiced integrity. If someone hated, he practiced compassion. He refused to mirror the darkness that hurt him. He chose to become the opposite of it. Because strength, to a Stoic, isn't loud. It doesn't shout or strike back. It's the quiet ability to stand unmoved, to feel everything, but be mastered by nothing. Marcus knew he couldn't control what others did, but he could control what he became because of it. Pain, for him, was not the enemy, it was the gem of the soul. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, it was all training. And slowly, that pain became his teacher. It stripped away comfort, ego, and illusion, until all that was left was discipline, calm, and clarity. He didn't rise above suffering by avoiding it. He rose by facing it, by walking through the fire and learning not to burn. That is what true strength looks like, not a hardened heart, but a steady one. Chapter 3: Gratitude for the Enemy. Gratitude for an enemy doesn't mean pretending the harm never happened. It means recognizing the strange generosity of pressure. The way opposition shapes you into someone steadier than you were before. Marcus Aurelius practiced this quietly. In his private notes, he often thanked those who challenged him, because they forced him to strengthen what comfort would have left weak. Gratitude here is not romance, it's realism. Your enemy gives you a mirror. Their cruelty exposes your impulses. Their lies test your commitment to truth. Their jealousy asks whether you'll anchor in purpose or drift into pettiness. Without them, your virtues would stay untested theory. With them, patience becomes an act, courage a habit, integrity a line you refuse to cross. This is how a Stoic reframes the wound. Not, they ruined me, but they revealed me. The injury is real. The lesson is larger. You can forgive without excusing, release without reconciling, and be grateful without reopening the door. Boundaries are not a failure of love. They are a form of wisdom. Try this practice. Breathe. Name the feeling without dramatizing it. Anger, grief, fear. Reframe. Ask, what muscle did this force me to build? Return. Choose a principle to embody right now. Truth, restraint, compassion. Record. Write one sentence of thanks for the lesson, not the injury. Gratitude disarms the cycle of retaliation. It denies your opponent the power to decide your character. When you can say, "Thank you for sharpening me," you relocate the center of control from their actions to your responses. That is sovereignty. Marcus didn't celebrate betrayal, he converted it. He used the weight thrown at him to build inner mass, quiet gravity that pettiness could not move. In the end, gratitude for the enemy is gratitude for the clarity they unwillingly delivered. They meant to wound you. Instead, they helped finish you, less naive, more whole, anchored in a peace they cannot touch. Outro. The modern reflection. 2,000 years have passed, but the terrain of the heart hasn't changed. Betrayal still visits us through quiet messages left unread, deals undone at the last minute, friends who turn into critics the moment we succeed. Marcus Aurelius offers us a modern compass. Do not let other people's choices decide your character. See clearly, choose calmly, act with dignity. In a world that rewards outrage, restraint is rebellion. In a culture obsessed with winning, integrity is radical. You don't need a throne to practice Stoicism. You need a pause, a breath, and a principle you refuse to abandon when it would be easier to lash out. That's what makes ordinary lives extraordinary. The decision to answer pain with wisdom. Let today be practical. If a name comes to mind, the person who disappointed you, use the Stoic triad. Acknowledge the sting without dramatizing it. Ask which virtue this moment is training: patience, courage, or honesty. Act in alignment with that virtue once. Today, no speeches, just proof. That's how we carry Marcus into the present, by living as if our example might heal someone who's watching. It might be your child, your teen, or a stranger on the other side of this screen. Pain will still knock. It just won't find the same house. If this message helped, like the video. It tells the algorithm that calm still matters. Comment below. What did betrayal teach you? Which virtue will you practice this week? Your insight could become someone else's lifeline. Share this with one friend who's rebuilding after a hard season. And if you're new here, subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers and tap the bell, so each reflection becomes a small anchor in your day. We are not what hurt us. We are what we choose next. See the truth, thank the lesson, walk forward, quiet, steady, free.